While many Australian lamb producers revelled in record lamb prices during the spring of 2018, Mark Devane and Lee Maguire from Leeton can lay claim to having made history by setting a string of records for the nation's highest priced pens. Mark and Lee are good friends and work closely together to source, finish and market high-quality grain-fed lambs for a range of domestic markets. However, they employ quite different feeding strategies. Lee has been finishing lambs on his 27-hectare irrigated block outside Leeton for the past 16 years. His feedlot comprises 3 pens, each holding about 250 head and equipped with 3 self-feeders, licks and troughs. Besides finishing up to 1,500 lambs a year, his property grows about 40 tonnes of barley and 4,000 small square bales used in the feedlot. Lambs are run on irrigated loosened pastures with access to protein pellets and hay for a fortnight before being moved to the finishing pens, where they are fed barley with a top-up of protein pellets.
When they come in, I put them out on the loosen with hay to fill them up first and let them resettle. And then they come up to the feedlot and I'll start them on pellets with the buffer and still the hay. Feed them for 10 days or a fortnight on that till they fill right up. And then just slowly introduce the barley in and then as the time goes on, keep up the barley and down the pellets, then take the pellets right out and then just barley and the buffer pellet.
Sheep remain on feed for between 70 and 120 days before being turned off at 70 kilos or more. Lee admits to mollycoddling his lambs by providing access to additional lime and salt lick feeds and blocks.
It's a bit of overkill, but anything they need, they've got. And that way they don't lack in anything and they can't do anything but put weight on. It's the same as anything in life. What you put in, you get out. So every day I check them, new hay, fresh hay, check everything, check their feeders, keep an eye on them, and then if they need drenching, drench them, just virtually live with them every day.
Next door, Mark Devane conducts a 2,500 head lamb feedlot on his family's 2,800 hectare cropping property.
I started probably 5 or 6 years ago with a couple of hundred head, and I've grown every year and then probably got a little bit carried away, and now I'm just sort of doing anywhere from, depending on the season, 4,000 to 10,000 to 12,000 head a year.
Mark implements a more aggressive feeding program based on a 7-day induction using pellets before switching to a grain-based finishing ration with ad-lib access to barley straw. Despite their different approaches, Lee and Mark are adamant the use of a grain balancer is critical to maintain the health and performance of lot-fed sheep.
I think if you're sort of, so to speak, force feeding them like we are, you need that grain with the energy, protein, and you've got to have it right to get the weight gain that you're sort of chasing to get these big export lambs to the weights we want.
Two of the most common problems associated with grain feeding sheep are acidosis and urinary calculi, or water belly. CopRice VitaMinBuf contains a balanced mix of vitamins, minerals, rumen buffers and modifiers to optimise lamb health and performance. Importantly, it contains a rich source of anionic salts to prevent urinary calculi.
It's got all the meds in it and all the minerals, everything you need, and it holds the intake of the grain back a bit because they're getting all the stuff out of it. And it sort of finishes the lambs off with a better finish, and they look better and they stay cleaner in the rear end and they just do better.
Whereas some grain balancers can be bitter, VitaMinBuf has been formulated to improve its palatability with fussy eaters.
They don't leave any in the feeders, the buffer, where the previous ones they'd eat it for a while and then they'd sieve through it. But they do not sieve through this at all. It all gets eaten.
VitaMinBuf is added to grain at 5%, or 2 25-kilo bags per tonne of grain, making it extremely easy to add to rations.
It saves a lot of time. I'm not using mineral drenches anymore. I'm not using lick blocks. I'm not using loose licks. It saves a lot of time. You're doing everything in one hit instead of going backwards and forwards.
Well, we bought a couple of big double loads of lambs, 38 to 40 kilos. We brought them home. We let them settle for 10 days, shore them, fed them for 13 and a half weeks, sent them to Griffith. They were from 75 to 85 kilos. Exactly the same lambs off Mark's place, my place, same day, national record, 284.
On the 17th of August, Mark established a new national record of $318 with a pen of 58 second cross Poll Dorset lambs. His two other pens sold for $317.50 and $314, also easily beating the previous week's record price of $305.
Yeah, very proud. It was a good day. So not that that's all it's about. It's sort of, at the end of the day, it's your back pocket where it counts. So it's not really about breaking records, it's about the job you're doing, I think.
On the same day, Lee's three pens, which had an estimated dressed weight of 38 kilos, also surpassed the national benchmark by fetching $307. That sort of success makes the following tips gold for any producer considering lot feeding sheep.
Don't force them too early with your feed. Don't let them run out of grain once they're on grain is your biggest thing. And just keep an eye on them and keep them healthy and happy.
Do your homework before you start. Just don't rush in. Make sure it's done properly. Your attention to detail, when things need to be done, you need to do them, and never let your feeders or your hay run out.